Yesterday that text was had 146, I think, slokas.
Yeah, they will be smaller. Yeah, yes.
That was a very big one.
Mataji, Varshana Mataji will be able to conduct the class.
I don't think she's in that condition, right? Let her rest.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah, let
Mataji.
her rest. Yeah, because she sounds that she's not 100%.
Yeah, she looks like a little this.
Okay, good. So we are here now. We'll get started. Om Jnanatimandasya Jnananjan Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Dena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So we have all assembled here today, especially to pray for Prerna, Vidyavati Mataji's granddaughter. And I was just thinking about, how all our lives changed over the last few days, thought processes, Prerna's life, her parents, aunts, grandparents, everybody, our well-wishers, everybody's. And in just such a short time, things can just change, right, in anybody's life. And this is the reality of this world. And that's why Kṛṣṇa says that it is dukhalayam ashashvatam. Nothing is permanent, as you can see. And then also it's dukhalayam, what to talk about that. So our attempt after hearing all these, so when we come and hear about such things either happening to us or happening to others, what should be our reaction in addition to praying for them, which is definitely something that Vaishnavas do? It should be that understand that this is really what Prabhupada says all the time in his purports, that this is not a place for us to live. He always says, don't get cozy in this material world. We might think that, I have a successful son, I have a successful daughter, I've got grandchildren, they're graduating, this and that. But with one stroke, everything can get just wiped out. And that is why the good news is that we are already on that path. And that is why we take so much of efforts to spend time in Krishna Katha and pursuing Krishna conscious activities and trying to purify. And one of the ways that we will be able to ever get out of this material world is that we purify ourselves. And so, as part of the purification, we have also got to understand the way that we behave, right, in our day-to-day lives. And so what happens is that when we meet in our lives, when we meet somebody who is more qualified than us, and qualifications could be that they are qualified, by way of education, they are qualified because they are in a better position in the job, or they are more rich, just like that, or they are more beautiful, or they are better player or intelligent, and so on and so forth. So they can be more qualified than us. And so what do we do when that happens? We're stuck with envy and we start to criticize. And then we might also come across people who are at the same level as we are. So I've got 1 million in a bank, and the other one has also got 1 million, and now it's like, oh, there's competition. I don't want them to, get more than 1 million. And instead of focusing on how can I move from 1 million to 2 million, I focus my energies on how I can push him from 1 million to 500 million. That is human nature. That is how we all are. And then, of course, when we meet somebody who is less than us, then we are like, oh, you, non-devotee, you don't know this, you don't know that. That is what we do. But Narad Muni says in the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, he says, complete something completely opposite there. And he says that gunadhikam id mudam lapsed, anukrosham gunatatmat, metrim samanad anvichen, nataper abhibhiyate. And so he's telling us something very different. He says that, when we meet somebody who's more qualified than us, then we should actually feel happy. Then I'm meeting somebody who's better than I am, because otherwise, where will I meet all that? And Vaishnav Prabhu always says that, a king's servant also eats the same food which the king eats, just because he knows somebody who's better than him. He's at the servant level, he can't afford that whole thing. So when you meet somebody much better, somebody more intelligent, this means that person can give you some knowledge and so on. So we should actually be happy when we see somebody who's more intelligent than us. And then when we feel somebody who is same as us, and it's like, oh, wow, we have, same circumstances, we understand, then you should be friendly with them. And then when there is somebody who is less than us, then we should, instead of, dumping them, criticizing them, we should just feel more compassionate and have a compassionate behavior. And that is what Shraddha-devi did when he came to America. He was compassionate to the souls here and gave them Krishna consciousness like that. So criticism is a very strong thing. and which we can do at both the levels, when we meet somebody better than us, when we meet somebody less than us. And it is a big deterrent. It's a big deterrent to our devotional service. Anybody who indulges in criticism, his devotional service he's going to fall down pretty soon. And if you don't know who you're criticizing, it could also lead to Vaishnava Prad, like that. So there's a pastime in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and where somebody even dares to criticize the Lord. and it's an interesting pastime, and you can read about that. So we will. I'm continuing on with my work. My laptop is here, and so we will request Indyavali Mataji to lead the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, and then you can read a few verses, whatever Sutapa Mataji decides, howsoever. So this criticism thingy comes in the last, so Chaitanya Charitamrita is divided into 3 sections. There is Adi Leela, the beginning of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life, and then there is Madhya Leela, the middle, and then there is the Antya Leela, like that. So I'm going to send you all, and I should do that on our San Mateo group, right? So that you can get the link, and I'll post it here on Zoom also. And
Shraddha Mataji, Archana Mataji is going to share the screen today. So, and she has some work, so she has to leave a little bit early. Is it possible that we can do that japa in the end of the class?
No,
absolutely.
That's fine. Sutapa Mataji, that's fine. Let's do japa first, and then
Okay, no problem.
I know Archana doesn't want to miss japa ever.
Whatever you say.
Yes, and we heard about the powers of the holy name. So just keep Prerna in your mind, and also realize that this material world is temporary, impermanent, and this is not us. We are just here. The best thing is to lead a better life, purify ourselves, and then just get out of this place, right? And help others also get out of here. Okay, so that will be the mood, and I will stop my video and my sound here. So please carry on, Mataji. I'm so thankful to all of you for
Thank you very much
this and helping me when I'm kind of stuck
Hare
with the
Krishna.
word. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimati Prashishikata Sitinam Namo Sri Prasya Prabhupada Ansarni Anitari Tasmai Sastra Bhadra Chodhani. Om Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamni Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravan Pucharni Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Tisarni Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasa Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna.
Archana Mataji, did you get the link?
Hare Krishna Mataji, yeah, I got the link, but I think Mataji has not enabled the participant screen sharing actually. So I cannot share the screen. She need to enable me to share the screen actually. Yesterday she did that, I think. Because when I'm opening share screen, it is still showing host disabled participant screen sharing. So I cannot.
And he forgot to post it here, chat window.
But even if she posts here, she still has to enable it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, she hasn't enabled me actually. I mean, all of us. So I cannot share.
Shraddha Mataji, are you there?
It is there. It is there on the phone, Mataji. Actually, we can read it from that also.
Yeah, we can just open our phones and do it then.
Mataji, the phone screen is very small.
No, each of us will read our own, not.
Yes, I know, but still.
If
Mm.
Mataji is here, then I can share. I mean, if I can ping her, but I don't know whether she will respond because I think
Can you send a text? Can you send a text?
She may not respond to the text.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can call
This
her.
is the one, chapter 8, Ramchandra Puri criticizes the Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah, Veda.
You can try
Yes.
manage. Let's manage like that.
Chaitanya
See,
Charitamrita
you turn the
Antariksha
phone,
8.
turn the phone sideways and then make it little bigger, Sudapa.
For me, the link is not loading. It says for some reason
On phone?
on phone the link is
Phone,
not
I
working.
got it. Phone, I got it.
Okay.
Veda base. So, did anybody send a text to Shraddha Mataji?
Yeah, she's not answering.
Wow.
Yeah, I think she might be busy.
Yeah.
Where's the
Sonia
link?
Mataji, is it
Shraddha
what is
Mataji.
your position? Means, can you read?
Hare Krishna. Hare
Okay.
Krishna. Tell me what happened.
Yeah,
Mataji,
you
I
haven't
got a call.
enabled sharing,
Yeah,
Shraddha
Mataji, you need
Mataji.
to
Oh,
enable
okay.
participant sharing, screen sharing.
Okay.
And
Sorry about that.
yes, Mataji put it in the chat box, the link.
I think Shraddha Mataji has already shared the link, right?
No,
Yes.
not
we
in
have
the
the
chat. It's on the group. It's in the Grand Matthew group, not here.
Oh,
It's not chat.
okay. Okay, not on chat. Okay.
No.
Yeah, now I can share. Just give me a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Now you can see?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
I
Mataji.
can see.
okay. Yeah.
So
Can you scroll
devotees,
down?
I am telling that reading order, I am telling you all as accordingly people have joined. So Varshana Mataji, can you read?
Yes, Mataji, I will read, Mataji.
Okay. Then Vindavali Mataji, Shukumal Mataji, Archana Mataji, Varshana Mataji, Shulekha Mataji, and Sonia Mataji. Anybody else? Aruni
Where are
Mataji.
you?
I will be reading after Sonia Mataji. So,
You're the last one.
yes.
Okay. After
Vindavali
you.
Mataji read the first paragraph, and then Shukumana Radha Mataji text 1 and 2, like start like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 8th chapter, Ramachandra Puri criticizes the Lord. The following summary of the 8th chapter is given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura in his Amrita Pravaha Bhashya. This chapter describes the history of the Lord's dealings with Ramachandra Puri. Although Ramachandra Puri was one of the disciples of Madhavendra Puri, he was influenced by dry Mayavadis, and therefore he criticized Madhavendra Puri. Therefore, Madhavendra Puri accused him of being an offender and rejected him. Because Ramachandra Puri had been rejected by his spiritual master, he became concerned only with finding faults in others and advising them according to dry Mayavadi philosophy. For this reason, he was not very respectful to the Vaishnavas, and later he became to fallen that he began criticizing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for his eating. Hearing his criticisms, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reduced his eating, but after Ramchandra Puri left Jagannath Puri, the Lord resumed his usual behavior. Hare Krishna.
Let me offer my respectful obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who reduced his eating due to fear of the criticism of Ramachandra Puri. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the incarnation of the ocean of mercy. His lotus feet are worshipped by demigods like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva.
Archana Mataji.
Yeah, sorry. All glories to Nityananda Prabhu, the greatest of mendicants who bound the entire world with a knot of ecstatic love for God. All glories to Advaita Prabhu, the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He induced Kṛṣṇa to descend and thus delivered the entire world. Hare Krishna.
Vashana Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. 5 and 6, no?
Yes.
All glories to all the devotees headed by Srivas Thakur. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is their life and soul. Text 6. Thus, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Jagannath Puri performed his various pastimes with his devotees in the waves of love for Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Shulekha Mataji.
Text 7. Then a sannyasi named Ramachandra Puri Gosani came to see Paramananda Puri and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Text 8. Paramananda Puri offered respects at the feet of Ramachandra Puri, and Ramachandra Puri strongly embraced him.
Text 9. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also offered obeisances to Ramachandra Puri, who then embraced him and thus remembered Krishna. Text 10. The three of them talked about Krishna for some time. Then Jagannatha came and extended an invitation to Ramachandra Puri.
Text 11. A large quantity of the remains of food from Lord Jagannath was brought in for distribution. Ramachandra Puri were sumptuously then, and then he wanted to find faults in Jagadananda Pandit. Text 12. After finishing the meal, Ramachandra Puri requested, "My dear Jagadananda, please listen. You eat the food what is left."
Text 14. Encouraging him
Text
again.
13, Mataji.
Sorry. The great eagerness Ramachandra Puri seated Jagadananda Pandita and personally served him prasadam. Text 14. Encouraging him again and again, Ramachandra Puri fed him sumptuously, but when Jagadananda had washed his hands and mouth, Ramachandra Puri began criticizing him.
I have heard, he said, that the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eat more than necessary. Now I have directly seen that this is true. Feeding a sannyasi too much breaks his regulative principles, for when a sannyasi eats too much, his renunciation is destroyed.
The characteristic of Ramachandra Puri was that first he would induce someone to eat more than necessary, and then he would criticize him. Formerly, when Madhavendra Puri was at the last stage of his life, Ramachandra Puri came to where he was staying. Varshana Mataji, text 19.
Thank you, Mataji. Madhavendra Puri was chanting the holy name of Krishna, and sometimes he would cry, "Oh my Lord, I did not get shelter at Mathura." Text 20. Then Ramchandra Puri was so foolish that he fearlessly dared to instruct the spiritual master. Hare Krishna. Text 21.
Shulekha Mataji.
Yeah, sorry. If you are in full transcendental bliss, he said, you should now remember only Brahman. Why are you crying? Text 22. Hearing this instruction, Mahavendra Puri greatly angry, rebuked him by saying, get out, you sinful rascal.
Text 23. O my Lord Krishna, I could not reach you, nor could I reach your adobe Mathura. Now I am dying in my unhappiness, and now this rascal has come to give me more pain. Text 24. Don't show your face to me. Go anywhere else you like. If I die seeing your face, I shall not achieve the destination of my life.
I am dying without achieving the shelter of Krishna, and therefore I am greatly unhappy. Now this content foolish rascal has come to instruct me about Brahman. Text 26. Ramchandra Puri was thus denounced by Madhavendra Puri. Due to his offense, gradually material desire appeared within him.
Text 27. One who is attached to dry speculative knowledge has no relationship with Krishna. His occupation is criticizing Vaishnavas. Thus, he is situated in criticism. Text 28. Ishvara Puri, the spiritual master of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, performed service to Madhavendra Puri, cleaning up his stool and urine with his own hand. Hare Krishna, Sukamala Mataji.
Yeah. Ishvara Puri was always chanting the holy name and pastimes of Lord Krishna for Madhavendra Puri to hear. In this way, he helped Madhavendra Puri remember the holy name and pastimes of Lord Krishna at the time of death. Pleased with Ishvara Puri, Madhavendra Puri embraced him and gave him the benediction that he would be a great devotee and lover of Krishna.
Thus, Ishvara Puri became like an ocean of ecstatic love for Krishna, whereas Ramachandra Puri became a dry speculator and a critic of everyone else. Ishvara Puri received the blessing of Madhavendra Puri, whereas Ramachandra Puri received a rebuke from him. Therefore, these two persons, Ishvara Puri and Ramachandra Puri, are examples of the objects of a great personality's benediction and punishment. Madhavendra Puri instructed the entire world by presenting these two examples.
Hare Krishna, text 33. His divine grace, Madhavendra Puri, the spiritual master of entire world, thus distributed ecstatic love for Krishna while passing away from the material world. He chanted the following verse, text 34. O my Lord, O most merciful Master, O Master of Mathura, when shall I see you again? Because of my not seeing you, my agitated heart has become unsteady. O most beloved one, what shall I do now?
Text 35. In this verse, Mahavendra Puri teaches how to achieve ecstatic love for Krishna. By feeling separation from Krishna, one becomes spiritually situated. Text 36. Mahavendra Puri sowed the seeds of ecstatic love for Krishna within this material world and then departed. That seed later became a great tree in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Text 37. I have incidentally described the passing away of Mahavendra Puri. Anyone who hears this must be considered very fortunate. Thus, Ramachandra Puri stayed at Jagannath Puri, as is customary for those in the renounced order. He would sometimes stay someplace and then go away.
Text 39. There was no certainty of where Ramachandra Puri would take his meal, for he would do so even uninvited. Nevertheless, He was very particular about keeping account of how others were taking their meals. Text 40. To invite Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would cost 320 kaudis, small conch shells. This would provide lunch for 3 people, including Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and sometimes Kashishwara and Govinda.
Text 41.
41.
41. Every day the Lord would take his meal at a different place. And if someone was prepared to pay for a meal, the price was fixed at only 4 panas. Text 42. Ramchandra Puri concerned himself with gathering all sorts of information about how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was situated, including his regulative principles, his lunch, his sleep, and his movements. Hare Krishna. So, Kamala Mataji?
Yeah. Because Ramchandra Puri was interested only in finding faults, he could not understand the transcendental qualities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His only concern was finding faults, but still he could not find any. At last he found a fault. How can a person in the renounced order eat so many sweetmeats? He said. If one eats sweets, controlling the senses is very difficult.
In this way, Ramachandra Puri blasphemed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu before everyone, but nevertheless, he would regularly come to see the Lord every day. When they met, the Lord would offer him respectful obeisances, considering him a god brother of his spiritual master. Ramachandra Puri's business, however, was to search for faults in the Lord. Hare Krishna. Varshana
Hare
Mataji,
Krishna.
text
Text
47.
47. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew that Ramchandra Puri was criticizing him before everyone. But whenever Ramchandra Puri came to see him, the Lord offered him respects with great attention. 1 minute. But whenever Ramchandra Puri came to see him, the Lord offered him respects with attention. Text 48. One day Ramchandra Puri came in the morning to the abode of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Seeing many ants, he said something to criticize the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Text
Text
49.
49.
Last night there was sugar candy here, he said. Therefore, ants are wandering about. Alas, this renounced sannyasi is attached to such sense gratification. After speaking in this way, he got up and left. Text 50. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had heard rumors about Ramachandra Puri's blasphemy. Now he directly heard his fanciful accusations. Hare Krishna.
Ants generally crawl about here, there, and everywhere, but Ramchandra Puri, imagining faults, criticized Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by alleging that there had been sweetmeats in his room. After hearing this criticism, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was doubtful and apprehensive. Therefore, he called Govinda and instructed him as follows.
Text 53. From today on, it will be a rule that I shall accept only 1/4 of a pot of Lord Jagannath's prasadam and 5 gandos worth of vegetables. Text 54. If you bring any more than this, you will not see me here anymore.
Text 55. Govinda relayed this message to all the devotees. When they heard it, they felt as if their heads had been struck by thunderbolts. Text 56. All the devotees condemned Ramchandra Puri, saying, "This sinful man has come here and taken our lives." Hare Krishna, Sukumar Mataji.
That day, a Brahmana extended an invitation to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Govinda accepted only 5 gandas worth of vegetables and 1/4 of a pot of rice, the Brahmana in great despair struck his head with his hand and cried, "Alas, alas!" Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ate only half of the rice and vegetables, and whatever remained was taken by Govinda.
Thus, both Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Govinda ate only half the food they needed. Because of this, all the other devotees gave up eating. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Govinda and Kashishwara, "You may both take alms elsewhere to fill your bellies." Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, text 62. In this way, some days passed in great unhappiness. Hearing of all this, Ramchandra Puri went to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Text 63. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offered his obeisances to Ramchandra Puri, worshipping his feet. Then Ramchandra Puri smiled and spoke to the Lord. Hare Krishna, text 64.
Shulika Mataji.
Sorry, Mataji, what text is it?
64.
Ramachandra Puri advised, "It is not the business of a sannyasi to gratify his senses. He should fill his belly some way or other." Text 65. I have heard that you have cut your eating in half. Indeed, I see that. You are skinny. Such dry renunciation is also not the religion of a sannyasi. Hare Krishna.
A sannyasi eats as much as necessary to maintain his body, but he does not satisfy his senses materially. The sannyasi becomes perfect in spiritual advancement and knowledge. Lord Krishna said, "My dear Arjuna, one cannot perform mystic yoga if he eats more than necessary or needlessly fasts, sleeps and dreams too much, or does not sleep enough. One should eat and enjoy his senses as much as necessary. One should properly endeavor to execute his duties. One should regulate his sleep and wakefulness. Thus, one can become freed from material pains by executing mystic yoga."
Text 69. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then humbly submitted, "I am just like an ignorant boy and am like your disciple. It is my great fortune that you are instructing me." Text 70. Hearing this, Ramchandra Puri got up and left. He also heard from various sources that all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were eating half as much as usual.
The next day, Paramananda Puri and other devotees approached Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with great humility and submission. Text 72. Paramananda Puri said, "My god brother Ramachandra Puri is by nature a bad critic. If you give up eating because of his words, what will be the profit?" Hare Krishna, Sakamala Mataji.
Yeah. It is the nature of Ramchandra Puri that first he lets one eat as much as desired, and if one does not eat more than necessary, with great attention, he makes him eat more. In this way, he induces one to eat more than necessary, and then he directly criticizes him, saying, "You eat so much. How much money do you have in your treasury?"
Also, by inducing sannyasis to eat so much, you spoil their religious principles. Therefore, I can understand that you have no advancement. It is Ramachandra Puri's business to inquire always about others, about how others are eating and conducting their daily affairs. Varshana Mataji, text
Hare
7.
Krishna, text 77.
Yeah.
Text 77. The two kinds of activities rejected in the revealed scriptures constitute his daily affairs. Text 78. One should see that because of the meeting of material nature and the living entity, the universe is acting uniformly. Thus, one should neither praise nor criticize the characteristics of or activities of others. Hare Krishna. Shulekha Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Text 79. Of the two rules, Ramachandra Puri obeys the first by abandoning praise. But although he knows that the second is more prominent, he neglects it by criticizing others. Text 80. Between the former rule and the latter rule, the latter is more important. Hare Krishna.
Even where there are hundreds of good qualities, a critic does not consider them. Rather, he attempts by some trick to point out fault in those attributes. One should not therefore follow the principles of Ramachandra Puri. Nevertheless, I have to say something against him because he makes our hearts unhappy.
Why have you given up your property due to the criticism of Ramachandra Puri? Please accept invitations as before. This is the request of us all. Text 84. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, why are all of you angry at Ramachandra Puri? He is expounding the natural principles of sannyasa life. Why are you accusing him? Bindavali Mataji.
Which number? I'm sorry.
85.
85. For a sannyasi to indulge in satisfying the tongue is a great offense. The duty of a sannyasi is to eat only as much as needed to keep body and soul together. Text 86. When they all requested very fervently that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu take a full meal, he still would not do so. Instead, he responded to their request by accepting half as much as usual. Hare Krishna, Sukamala Mataji.
The cost for the food needed to invite Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was fixed at 2 pannas of kodis, 160 conch shells, and that food would be taken by 2 men and sometimes 3. When a Brahmana at whose home an invitation could not be accepted invited the Lord, he would pay 2 pannas of conch shells to purchase the prasadam.
When a Brahmana at whose home an invitation could be accepted invited him, the Brahmana would purchase part of the prasadam and cook the rest at home. Even on a day when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was invited to dine by others, if Gadadhar Pandit, Bhagwan Acharya or Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya invited him, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had no independence. He would accept their invitation as they desired.
Hare Krishna, text 92. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually descended to give happiness to the devotees. Thus he behaved in whatever way fit the time and the circumstances. Text 93. Because of his full independence, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sometimes behaved like a common man and sometimes manifested his godly opulences. Hare Krishna, text 94.
Yes, Mataji, text 94. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sometimes accepted Ramachandra Puri as his master and considered himself a servant, and sometimes the Lord, not caring for him, would see him as being just like a straw. Text 95. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu behaved exactly like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, beyond the restriction of anyone's intelligence. He did whatever he liked, but all his activities were very beautiful.
Text 96. Thus Ramachandra Puri stayed for some days at Nilachal, Jagannath Puri. Then he left to visit various holy places of pilgrimage. Text 97. The devotees considered Ramachandra Puri to be like a great burden on their heads. When he left Jagannath Puri, everyone felt extremely happy, as if a great stone burden had suddenly fallen from their heads to the ground.
Text 98. After his departure, everything was happy once again. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted invitations as usual and led congregational chanting and dancing. Everyone else also accepted prasadam without hindrance. Text 99. If one's spiritual master rejects him, one becomes so fallen that he, like Ramchandra Puri, commits offenses even to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sukamala Mataji?
Yeah. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not consider the offenses of Ramchandra Puri, for the Lord considered him his spiritual master. However, his character instructed everyone about the result of offending the spiritual master. The character of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is full of nectar. Hearing about it is pleasing to the ear and mind.
I write about the character of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. O readers, please hear with attention, for thus you will easily receive ecstatic love for the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunatha, always desiring their mercy, I, Kṛṣṇa Das, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Om Tat Sat.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So Ramchandra Puri is
Hare Krishna.
troublesome, huh?
Yes.
I don't know how much he would have criticized me today's reading.
We won't.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you, Archana Mataji, for sharing the screen.
Thanks, Archana.
My pleasure, Sutapa Mataji. No
See, we
worries.
know
Thank you.
that
Thank you so much, Sutapa Mataji, for
Mataji, it was your turn. And now,
no, but you did, okay. But we all just worked together. It was very good.
Yes,
I'm
but
so
at
happy.
least Varshana Mataji joined. Hope you will be fine by tomorrow.
yes,
Yes,
yes, I should be fine. Actually, yesterday, a friend of mine, she had to go to the bank, and she told me that the bank people have said not to come alone, so you come with me. I went with her. I came back and I had fever. I don't know what happened.
Your face looks a little tired.
Archana Mataji, will you please stop sharing the screen so that we can see everyone's face?
Sure. I'll do that. Just a minute. Give me a second. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks everybody.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sutapa.
Thank you,
Hare
Mataji,
Krishna.
all your support and
Thank you very much, everybody participating.
Thank you, everyone.
Prayers for Prerna Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you so
Varshan
much.
Mataji, take care of
Thank
your
you
health.
so much.
Yes, and
Thank you so
Vindavali
much.
Mataji, just continue reading the Narayan Kavaja. Tomorrow we don't have class, so
Yeah,
we.
I'm reading that. It's very interesting. That's I'm reading that. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay.
everyone.
Vanchakalpataruvarsha kripa sindhuvaiva cha Patitanam pavanebhayo Vaishnavevayo namo namaha. Lord Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thanks, Archana.